So welcome back to CryptosRUs. I am George. We're all George. Joined with me today is Stephen Say of Harmony, a very fast and Ethereum compatible blockchain. How are you, Stephen?
Hey everyone, thanks George for having me here today.
I'm really glad you're here. Harmony is a project I discovered not too long ago, but looking at some of the things that you have done, including your own background and your team members' background, very, very impressive. So I want to first, before diving into what the project is, I want to look at your history a little bit because it's very impressive. First, you have a PhD in cryptography, right? You also worked at Google and you helped, I think, create Google Maps. Is that correct?
Well, I was part of the team,
Part of the team?
but it has been really a long background of like really doing lots of platform, protocol stuff, and then finally make sense together.
Yeah, and then afterwards, you created your own company called SpotSetter, which was bought by Apple. So then you worked for Apple for a little bit also, right?
That's right. Yeah, it was a great journey in Silicon Valley, doing startup, working with big companies to really bring the adoption, and now trying another one.
So yeah, that leads me to this. Why I'm starting with this is because, and it looks like you also interned at Microsoft before too. So you worked at basically three of the biggest tech companies out there. So how was your time there? Did it teach you anything that you may have brought or not brought over to Harmony, like culture wise, development wise? Can you talk about that?
Oh, absolutely. Thanks, George, for setting the stage that way.
Yeah.
And it's really true. The fact that whether Microsoft Research and then Google Maps as a platform, and then finally Apple Maps as a product at that time, really give me like an idea at that time, like 2017, 2018. We know Bitcoin was great. We knew that Ethereum only getting started. But what can a bunch of like engineers from Silicon Valley do? It was really the background that many of us, it were also Amazon at that time, also Facebook, quite a few of us that thought that maybe in blockchain, we can really bring some of these like enterprise platform experience and think about how to scale it.
Awesome. Awesome. So let's dive into Harmony then. So from what I understand, Harmony is a very high speed, fast, very fast consensus time blockchain. And it obviously supports Ethereum. And you guys have a bridge with that. But how is that different compared to some of the other fast blockchains out there? Because right now, besides the big ones that a lot of people talk about, like, I don't know, Polkadot or Cardano whenever it's done, or even Ethereum 2.0. But there's other ones like Solana or Elrond or Zilliqa. Some of them are also using sharding, which I believe you guys are too. So what really separates you guys from everyone else?
There are so many choices now.
Yeah.
Back in the time when people think about this scalability problem, people couldn't figure out, right? They don't know which one is the right approach. And I think really Ethereum research, if not Ethereum 2 itself, really set a great direction. They ask, can proof of stake as well as sharding be really the long-term view where the entire industry and the world can really look forward to? And we're very lucky that we picked the right direction. We always thought about, let's bring the best research to production, right? There are lots of great ideas. People actually love to experiment, and it's very open in blockchain space. But there are only very few ideas that we really believe in, commit to. Day one in the white paper, but building it for the last few years. So we think this whole approach with proof of stake, sharding today is like horizontally scaling, that's what we call it. There's still very few projects actually staying in there, figuring out the whole state sharding, really big PBFT, so the finality. And I think we are clearly differentiated only because when people really study what does finality means, what does adding one more shard will make it really scalable compared to like parachain, if not like Hub in Cosmo. Hopefully this will really be the critical element that we choose our journey.
So I've read one of your blog posts about how Harmony is already ETH 2.0. It's
Mhm.
like what Ethereum 2.0 wants to be
Mhm.
with proof of stake is basically how you guys are now. So
Mhm.
can you talk about real quick? I don't know. I'm not a developer, but are there any fundamental differences between what Vitalik is trying to do with Ethereum
Mhm.
2.0 versus what you guys have?
Oh, absolutely. I think that's really set things apart, right? Thanks for bringing that topic, right? Everyone wants to be Ethereum killer. But even Ethereum 2 itself is trying to figure out, like, it's going to be Ethereum 1.5, or when it's ever come, it's going to come as a shard to Ethereum 1. And the great thing for Harmony is we have been having the mainnet of proof of stake sharding for almost 2 years now, like a year and 9 months. I'm still counting, right? So that we really experiment this early on. We get all this production experience. Obviously, we know the deposit contract, meaning the sticking part of Ethereum 2 finally arrived, right? But there's all these hard questions. How do you short the state? So many different ways to do data availability. How do you really get the application possible to run today, but still be able to connect back to Ethereum? And now with the bridge to Binance Smart Chain and then Bitcoin, it's going to be very critical about the execution. Actually, strategy and which approach doesn't matter as much as long as you really pick the best one. Hopefully, Harmony really set it apart that we have the white paper in 2018, 2019, we launched our mainnet. Hopefully, the execution also matters.
Awesome. So let's talk about that because you just brought that up, bridge. So you guys launched a Horizon bridge, which allows ECR 20 and ECR 721 tokens to be basically moved over to Harmony. And recently you guys launched the Binance Smart Chain bridge too. So obviously ERC 20, ERC 721, very hot right now with DeFi and also NFTs. So how has the reception been so far in terms of projects that are just fed up with high gas prices and congestion and moving over to Harmony?
It's perfect. Perfect time. Perfect product market fit. Obviously, we've been building this for more than a year just on the Ethereum compatible side. We always start with the Ethereum virtual machine, EVM, right? So people understand that it's really just a matter of deploying to another chain. But then it doesn't get any easier when we finally have the Ethereum tooling compatibility. Meaning on the command line, on MetaMask, you just need to switch the chain ID. And with that, we were at Ethereum Denver, ETH Denver to tell the developer and say, just go try it, and everyone loves it. Right? People understand that SushiSwap has been forked the most time in the history of source software that anyone can try and experiment. And same thing for us, right? Like our hackathon as well as our application developers, once they understand the basic Ethereum like toolings and applications that they like, now they have a choice. Try on Harmony.
So I've also read, and this may make things easier, is like in terms of language for Ethereum is Solidity. You guys, do you support it natively or is it just something? Yes. So, okay. So it makes it just a whole lot easier for any Ethereum developer to just hop right in and get started then, right?
Exactly.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So, all right. So elaborating on this, as for DeFi, can you talk about, well, first, before I get to that, I did see again in your blog that you guys just did like I don't know if it's an internal just test or a hackathon, but I read that you guys like basically ported over Uniswap and Balancer onto Harmony just to test out the fee and how fast it is. And it was just tremendously faster. So are there any plans to like just release kind of like your own DeFi projects, or are you just really relying on other developers to program on top of Harmony?
Really great point. And that's really the question of platform versus a product company or product projects, right? And finally, really come to fruition now this year, just a few weeks ago. the Uniswap fork on Harmony now get to be 150 million in market cap by itself.
Wow.
In 20 days.
Wow.
So 20 days ago, some anonymous developer just told our community and say, hey, we done it. Right. Originally, it was like who is this guy? Right? How come we didn't get to collaborate? What can we do now? Can we like back this? But that's really the strength of the community. Well, granted, we have been showing that this is possible. Since last year, we have, as you have noticed, we forked a few like Uniswap and even Aave and a few projects to show that, hey guys, this is really easy. We don't have all the product to show you like improve. But then if you're just thinking about if you're done in Ethereum, what can you do here? Right, and then some project with the Uniswap, they actually figured out how to combine many of the strengths. So he took the Uniswap V2 combined with the Harvest token economics and about tokens setup, and then now everyone really believes that this is the right approach. You can really experiment on Harmony.
Wait, so this person that started this, is this a live project or this is a live project, right?
Yeah, only 20 days ago.
What is this project called?
It's called Viper, V-I-P-E-R. And it actually is the first link on our website that say, hey, try this token swap.
Oh.
We haven't really promoted yet. We really want to figure out what's the long-term approach with the anonymous developer, just like SushiSwap actually.
Right.
If any of us remember the drama last year, 6 months ago, this is what we're going through as well. We want to help him to really bring the multi-sig with the community and some of our key stakeholders so that long term, we can really figure out how to grow this and letting him stay anonymous.
Yeah, SushiSwap like hit the market so fast. Then the guy, Chief Nam or whatever he called himself, did a really weird exit scam, but not really. He returned the funds.
He just exhausted.
But it was just really weird. But yeah, that's a good point. I mean, when it's anonymous, it's like I get it because in crypto world, a lot of people want to stay anonymous. But when it comes to a project, people want to know who it is so they know they could trust that project, right? Because there's so much money flowing around. So yeah, it's kind of a hard thing.
It's the Satoshi moment, right?
Yeah.
We would never thought that it's possible again, that someone can stay anonymous and still build an amazing big project. And I think finally last year, there were lots of experiments on like DAO, the whole multi-sig anonymous people, and then like putting all the votes on snapshots so that people know like there are people to trust that they'll be part of, like whether the compound and obviously FTX Sam being the leader on the whole like rescue the sushi. At the same time, really letting a developer do his way, right? Everything is technical, you can really see the source code. And the combined effect is amazing, right? People from the community really buy into governance all the way to getting listed on Coinbase so that everyone feels very involved.
So what about NFTs, which are very, very, very hot right now? So I actually just did an interview last week with Yatsu of Animoca Brands, and I know you guys have a big relationship with them, right? So yeah, I mean, I know that I didn't know this until recently. I know Sandbox is their big thing, and they have a ton of other NFT, projects, but Sandbox rides on top of Harmony. Is that right?
Sandbox and us are partners, and we have lots of collaboration going on. But with Animoca, really, Yat has been always the thought leader in the NFT space. And that's really where the amazing thing is, right? Like Yat is not just about like a platform or like a particular product, but he understands very early, really bring in all the branded assets together. And so did we, really, thanks to Yat, exactly when we started 3 years ago, help us understand that we can be one of the platform to be hosting many of the mainstream brands, right? I mean, Cyberpunk is cool and all this generated art is great, but my mom would never buy a piece like that. to be like day to day, right?
Right.
And hoping what to bring even like the Game of Thrones, if not some of these like NBA and sport teams is really what Nuclear is good at. And we're very happy to be the partner to think about the platform where all these applications and assets can flow.
Yeah. And yeah, so besides Sandbox, I think there's another Beast Quest. Yeah, but I think you're right. I mean, after talking to Yet, he seems to just like be ahead of the game. Like he could see things. Right. But you know, with that said, I know that, you know, a lot of the NFTs now, they're starting to use newer standards also. There's like Engine has one that's the ERC 1155. Now, I don't know if you heard, there's another project called Luxo with Fabian that's involved. He's trying to create another standard that's like ERC 725. That's supposed to also help NFTs in a big way, although I don't really understand it. But yeah, I mean, just talk about NFTs overall, like not even from a like a platform standpoint. I just want to hear your thoughts about NFTs overall, because there's one side that thinks NFTs are just a fad. You know, things are being sold for too high and they shouldn't be selling that high. And there's another group that kind of get it, that, you know, music, games, TV shows, collectibles, they all could be tokenized. So what are your overall thoughts about NFTs?
Yeah, we love NFT. Very few people really understand where the traction comes in until only recently. But the fact that it was actually the easiest way to talk about community. It's an easier way to experiment different incentives among a group of people that they actually want to bootstrap this. Not just about the price of the art, right? There's always these special moments in the NBA that people actually love to talk about, they want to be part of, not just about trading the cards. They just won't shut up talking about LeBron or Kobe. That really, these are the cards or the asset for them to really associate with. And we really understand that part. That's NFT is a very lightweight way for a community to come together and create values.
So like you mentioned, like, yeah, like NBA Top Shots is just crazy right now. Crazy. Are you a basketball fan, by the way?
Oh, we used to play every day with our team. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like it's really blown up. I think CryptoKitties started it first, right? And people just thought it was really silly. But I mean, NFTs has been around for years. It's just never really caught on, other than CryptoKitties. And then you have like a 3-year span of basically nothing, and now everything is like catching on so quick. And I think it is like what you said. It's more like almost like an emotional attachment to something that you just really like, right?
Exactly.
Okay,
Yeah.
and then I guess the last thing, and this is you may find this question funny, but a lot of people ask me this, because whenever I introduce projects, even though they could be US based projects, you can't really find them anywhere in terms of like people want to buy the token, but it's really hard. And one of the things is, I know like for Harmony, for example, one is available on, say, Binance.us. So can you talk about that? Like, why is so many projects not getting listed? Is it very difficult, or is it something to do with they had an ICO and they're afraid that they're seen as a security? Can you talk about that a little bit?
Wow, you asked the hardest question. It's not just funny or like why is such a particular thing, but it's really true. Being in the US to do blockchain, never mind crypto tokens and all that, is the hardest thing in the world. In a good and bad way. Finally, we made it, right? And we call it good, right? We separate many of the tokens, many of the team. But at the same time, I can say a few things about the journey we have gone through. Most of all, how many like conversation with lawyers, how many conversation with some of the even enforcement agency to think about this problem, right? You notice the best, right? Why is it so hard to do like the US exchange listing? Why is it people so cautious when they talk about blockchain project within US? I think it's good in the way that inside US, actually the liquidity is so high. There are lots of institutional investors. They want to make sure you are a credit investor before you can even do the first sales, which is all good, right? On the other hand, we did pay our lawyers' fees to get this right. Right. We work with the top law firm to really think about the compliance. But most of all, if you still remember, there's a term called utility memo, right? That all the tokens really need to prove that from very early on, two things.
Right.
That it is actually being used rather than just a speculation as well as just an investment vehicle. Second thing, it should be decentralized, right? Just like Bitcoin and Ethereum, they finally meet that bar, right? And honestly, Harmony tried really hard. That's why we launched the mainnet very early on. It's really pointless when you say this is usable, but it's just a playground and testnet for like 3 years, right?
Right.
Yeah, and the second thing at decentralization too, we spend lots of effort making sure that our nodes are owned by like hundreds, thousands of people, part of the governance. We started the whole governance forum as well as voting to make sure that it's not us controlling the upgrades in the future of the platform, but truly owned by a large community over the world. And we're just the founder to set the vision and do some of the development. But at the end of the day, whether this platform can last for decades really matter how it started and really owned by a very diverse group of people.
Did you guys, and I should have researched this, did you guys have an ICO or were you like privately funded?
Yeah, we were very lucky that we raised very good seed round back in 2018. 2019, we set up the node operator round, and then we got on the Binance IEO at that time.
Oh, okay.
So we really helped us set the stage of like really getting lots of great like attention and very global investors at that time.
Okay. You talked about the decentralization and nodes. So how does it work with the nodes on Harmony? Like how does that work?
Oh, I'm glad you asked a key Bitcoin question, right? Is it decentralized yet?
Yes.
Right? Are we decentralized yet?
Yes.
Right? It's shocking how people don't talk about it anymore, don't use that term of metrics anymore. And we actually emphasize that the most. If you remember the whole decentralization, security versus scalability, back in the time of asking the question, can we build a platform like that? We actually emphasize decentralized the most. So today we really build the on-chain delegation, slashing, staking that actually many projects really don't talk about it, right? I mean, they try to vote offline and then try to make the change and then try to really delegate offline. So a bunch of people meet and talk about what do we do next, right? We do all of them on the chain.
Yeah, see that, I think you're 100% right. Even myself, I don't really even talk about that anymore. And that's because you have this debate where scalability versus decentralization. But like you said, there are some projects that have a very small subset of block producers or nodes or super nodes because they wanted to be very fast, because they were programmed, they couldn't figure out how to make it faster without just having less nodes. And then you have projects that have a lot of nodes, like AKA Ethereum right now, or miners that are just very slow because everything has to be like verified across every single miner, right? So yeah, it's an interesting thing. So how were you guys able to solve that with being decentralized and also fast?
Exactly. That's the whole point. I think that trilemma really got everyone to understand why this is a problem to solve for many years. If not, like we're still working on it to make it even faster and more secure, right? And the key point about why this is a critical problem really actually escape most people when it is actually a great market. Even just really want to ship the product, make a few good bucks. Always, if you see in most people's roadmap, like, oh, we'll decentralize later.
Right.
Oh, we will make it scale soon. Oh, this is the approach that we know it works, but we also believe in that it will come, right? Actually, it's the hardest thing, right? To build a 21 nodes or like to make things to run with application, we know how to do that, right? In cloud, and then you just really set up a community and people just like forward multi-sig. Hopefully the way that we did it is we actually brought the best research to think about sharding in particular is the right approach. And not only the concept of sharding, even like Polkadot used the word sharding, and everyone got confused, right? Are we shard now? Are we like another parachain or like another subnet, right? I think the concept of sharding, now we need to even differentiate now. We call it horizontal sharding or uniform sharding, right? Every module is the same, right? Isn't that beautiful? Like you can talk about, oh, now that we have another parachain, you need to connect this way, you need to like auction for the like position that way. But the fact that we figure out the uniform sharding, so that the demand comes, we'll just add another new shard, really set us apart that we know that this is the right approach to do.
Okay. So two final questions. One easy, one hard. So let's start with the easy one. How do you feel overall about Bitcoin in general? You know, any thoughts? What's your thoughts on Bitcoin?
Well, first of all, I know you guys are really the OG. The fact that you really written out so many education pieces on Bitcoin 101, and so many questions on Quora. I was just going through some of the questions. Really impressed.
That was from years ago, yeah.
Yeah, that's why we're still impressed me on like how this space started. The same thing for us. There's no way that we don't connect back to the space and the Bitcoin ecosystem. So first one is Ethereum, second one is Binance Smart Chain. We actually building a bridge to Bitcoin as well, that we truly believe that this is the right sort of value model that is well proven now in terms of technology, 12 years of security, that we want to be part of, that Bitcoin will live forever, that will absolutely help people understand how to bring Bitcoin in as lending and collateral, the way that what keeps network, TBTC, as well as Pocket BTC is also our approach. They have really great open source as well as research to think about, can there be a decentralized way compared to WBTC, right? Can there be a decentralized way to think about this long-term problem where Bitcoin will always be part of the ecosystem?
Okay. That Bitcoin bridge is interesting. So that leads to my second one, because you have a group of people that are Bitcoin maximalists. And even someone like Michael Saylor is, and obviously everyone's hearing about him because he's just doing a million interviews everywhere now. But what I've heard one of his interviews where he was asked about, like, look at what's going on with altcoins projects, with DeFi and NFTs and all this stuff, right? How can you not like these kind of projects? And he answered back, well, you know what? Yes, they do serve a purpose, but I don't know that, let's say, a layer 2 solution on top of the Bitcoin network, maybe that could solve all these problems. So, I mean, so what do you think? Well, what do you say to that?
It's great to be in the Bitcoin position, right? If you are like holding so much gold and you understand this is really the value, I would love to be like 10 years ago, really understand that valuable position.
Right.
Well, the question is like, is it going to be Lightning Network? Is it going to be like Echo, whatever project on Bitcoin versus about all this layer 2 optimism and whatnot? I think it's a wrong arguments, right? That I believe Lightning Network works for its purposes, but then there are all these like zero knowledge proof, privacy, as well as all these like NFT play that even NFT happened on Bitcoin before. Why does it so much easier now? Because the programmability, the composability, the toolings, in some way also the ecosystem as well. I actually heard from where people and some of the original NFT, as well as some of the Bitcoin application community said, oh yeah, we have all this cool technology like 5, if not 6 years ago, but Bitcoin people actually don't want to think about it. Right, most of the miners and people don't want to make upgrades just to think about other things. Right. If it happens, that's great, right? Even the multi-sig really solves some Taproot and whatnot. But then Bitcoin will always hold a position first and most of all security. First and most of all, store of value. Does it make sense for all the miners and all the users in Bitcoin. So it's okay that Ethereum would experiment what it is. And that's really where I see Harmony as well, right? Will Ethereum ever get to Ethereum 2? You will not bet against it, right? On the other hand, hopefully Harmony get to experiment many of these, like both scalability as well as Harmony being the hub of Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Polkadot, that we'll really find our own journey.
Yeah, that's a good point about Bitcoin's developers. We know that years ago, Roger and others, they wanted a bigger block size for whatever reason, and they're like the main core devs are like, no, we're not doing it, and they forked off. So I think that's a really good point.
Yeah.
I think that's all the questions I had. I think you really explained Harmony well. I mean, there's a lot of things going. DeFi, NFT, you got your bridges going, and you definitely do have sharding and fast finality that you mentioned. So I wish you guys good luck. I think you guys will do really well, and hopefully we could talk again in the future.
Absolutely, such a great pleasure to be here. Thank you again, George.
All right, thank you for being here. So for everyone else that's watching this, make sure you hit the like and subscribe to the channel. Check out Harmony and stay tuned for my next video. Take care, guys.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.